Hi everyone, and welcome back to Disc Golf Valley Tips and Tricks. And today we're going to be taking a look at, let's see, what's next. It is Oak Hill. And before we go ahead with the 3-star run, let's maybe just do a walkthrough in the practice mode and take a look at what we can do with our new set of discs. And we are looking for Oak Hill. There we go. All right, the first one. And with your new Zeus disc or its equivalent, maybe you've got a Ballista Pro Extra Glide Big Skip or the Rive Grail, this is a fairly easy eagle. And I found that probably the best approach is to use the backhand. And with the Zeus, you can maybe put just a little bit of anhyzer on that depending on your wind. And it should just skip right into place there. And we probably could toss that in, but let's go ahead and use our Svei and pump it in. Now, when you're getting this close with a throw in, you might want to point your arrows up just a little bit of center. If you have them too far down, at this distance, you can end up hitting the bottom rim. So when you're close and you want to do a throw in, just bring it up a little bit and then use the same aim and pull down the same, and in it goes for a nice eagle. I don't know if there's anything more that I need to show you on that. If you're working with smaller discs, you can basically take the same approach. Some people like to go forehand and go around this way. But there's something that you should know about forehand. It will only give you about 80% of the distance that you would get if you're doing the... Well, it brought us up quite a bit, but generally speaking, the forehand is not going to take you as far distance-wise with most discs. But we should be able to pop this in too. Going through the bush, you should know sometimes the bushes and trees have resistance, and other times they don't have a collision factor programmed into the game. And so sometimes you can just go right through bushes, no problems. And especially this is the top of the bush, I don't think we'll run into any problem. Let's just give it a try here. If you do remember that you get resistance, then it's better to put more power into the throw. All right, let's go forward. The next hole. This is a possible ace. And the disc to use is a 10 speed here. And bring your pointer down so that your second pointer is resting on top of the hill there. And depending on the direction of your wind and the speed of your wind, you may want to adjust that. But since we've got a 2-speed wind going right to left, we'll probably put our pointer right there and then pull straight back. And that looks like that wasn't enough. But with a PD roll disc, you're not going to go very far usually, so you can come back for your birdie. All right, let's go on to the next hole. And here is another one where the Zeus will come in very handy. It's a actually fairly easy hole to get a eagle on if you have a good long distance driver. And in this case, because we have the Zeus, we'll be set. I bring the pointing chevron just so it's touching the tip of the little pond there. And then I'll put just a little bit of anhyzer on that. And probably should have put a little bit more anhyzer, looks like. You get up on this hill, and it can be a little bit difficult to make the adjustments that you need to get into the basket from this distance. But let's give it a try. What we're going to do, because we're shooting downhill, is not bring it all the way down to that first line. And we happen to do it. Let's try it one more time and check the wind. Okay, and putting it about the same place. Let's just put a little bit more of an anhyzer on that. And this should come in a little bit closer to the basket if we get a good bounce. Sometimes the Zeus doesn't always give the best bounce. But I think that's close enough. 32, we should be able to get this. I've noticed that the Sve seems to be a little bit heavier than the fuse that I'm used to using. So on a distance like 32, I will not only, because it might fade a little bit, I'll not only bring it over right of center, but I'm going to pull back just a little bit more than I normally would with a fuse. And there we go for the eagle. Okay, hole number 4. This is also a potential eagle if you get favorable winds. This isn't the best wind to work with to try for the eagle, but we'll see what we can do with this Zeus. It's the first time I've played this hole with the Zeus, so let's check it out. In the forehand mode, that wind really took it off to the left. Let's try rethrowing that and put more of an anhyzer on that. And maybe let's bring it over. And so, our hyzer, I should say. That is a little bit more the line we want. So watch out for that wind. It'll take your disc away. And 43, it's not the kind of distance we would like, but let's give it a try. 43 is kind of almost center to the top, between the top and second line. And it's just a little short. Let's see if we can play this again with a better wind condition. That's a little better. And let's try this again. I think that's a little closer to the basket, a 35. Give us a little better chance. And for 35, in this wind, we'll just bring it down just below the line, and that's not enough either. Okay. Well, at least we'll get a nice birdie. There's another route I should show you that might actually work better with the Zeus. And that is to bring it over here and switch it to backhand. And I think I mentioned in a previous video that the backhand is actually going to give you more distance than the forehand. About 20% more distance usually. And so let's give this a try. Forehand, or backhand I should say. We're working with some nasty wind again on this one. We rolled away. .62. It's not impossible, but in a 3 wind it's a little difficult to get this. But 62, you're looking just below the line there. Wasn't quite enough. Now let's just put a little bit more anhyzer on this. And that's kind of more what we're looking for. Bring us up a little closer to the basket. And with our Sve, we shouldn't have any problem popping this in. Ooh, that was close. Like I say, that Sve is just a little heavier than what I'm used to. This is another eagle. You shouldn't have any problem getting the 3 stars on this one with all of the potential eagles. So checking the wind, a 1 wind, we'd probably put the aim right about here and put just a little bit of hyzer on it. Now this Zeus is just a little bit too much disc for this hole. You could go out of bounds if you pull it all the way back. So just bring it back just a little bit before you release it. and you should be okay. You'll notice the out of bounds line there. If we would have pulled it all the way that back, that probably would have bounced out. Okay, but we should be good for our eagle here. If you do have, if you're just playing with free discs, probably what you want to do is, let's say you have a 5 or 7. You might have a 7, something close to it. What you'd want to do is lay up over in this field here before going across the river, and you can still get a birdie doing it this way. All right, next hole. All right, this is actually another place where you can get an eagle. When you're first starting out, it seems a little difficult. There's a couple of different ways of doing it, and I'm not sure it'll work with the Zeus. With a Ballista Pro Extra Glide Big Skip, you'd do something like this. Now, we've got a strong wind, so it's probably going to end up in the river, but let's just give it a try. You'd do something like this. Now, if it wasn't such a strong wind, we'd probably come down to here with the Ballista. With the Zeus, this is all experimental here, but if you get it just right, it's going to bounce just before the river and go across to the island. But it wasn't over enough. Let's try that again. And maybe just come over just a little bit more with that strong wind. No. Get down. No. So, I'm not sure that this is probably the best with the Zeus. At least I would need to practice with it a lot more to line that up. But the idea is you bounce just before the river and it takes you over to the basket. And then you can get an easy eagle. But there's another approach, and that's using your 10. And with this 3 wind, we're probably going to just hold back a little bit. Maybe bring it down to the bottom of the second line, because we don't want it skipping into the water, which it doesn't. Now that's over just a little further than what I'm usually wanting, but we might still be able to get this. With a strong wind like this, we'll not have it centered like usual, and 37 should probably bring it down there. Watch the wobble. No, too much fade on that sphay. Okay, let's try this again with our 10 speed. And the 10 speed is just maybe a little bit more than what you want to work with to lay up before the river. But if you don't take it all the way down, it should be fine. That's kind of what you want. And then from there, you should be able to put it in with a little practice in throw-ins. Again, this is not a disc that I'm used to working with, but let's see what we can do. Oh, hit the rim. But we still end up with a birdie. With a little practice on this hole, you can get the eagle maybe 50% of the time. All right, here we are on hole number 7, and this is actually another hole that you can get an eagle on if you have the right discs in your bag. Now, that might be a problem for us right now. I don't see any disc in this bag that would really make it easy to get that eagle. The Zeus would just be too far. Don't even try. You're going to be out of bounds. And the 7 won't make it. The 5 won't make it. The 10 probably is not going to make it either, especially since it doesn't have a bounce or an extra glide attribute. So about our only disc is this recoil. And I don't usually use the recoil on this hole. So we've got quite a strong wind to deal with here too. So normally the discs that I would use on this hole would put quite a bit of a hyzer on it, something like that. But with this disc, especially in that strong wind, I think we're going to have to put about a half of an anhyzer on that and hope that it goes far enough out before it hits the hill. And down we go. Well, that probably leaves us a little further away than what we would like, but let's check it out. 29 meters in a strong wind with a disc you're not used to. We'll see what happens here. Oh, we got it. So there we are with a nice eagle. Let's maybe play it one more time. Bring it down about center, and again about a half of an anhyzer, and hope for the best. Ooh, that's going over too far. It's probably not going to make it to the hill. No. That's not what you want. When you're out here in the field and you're trying to bring it down, don't be tricked by the distance because you're going downhill quite a bit. Let's still use our throw-in disc, the Vally, and I would still only pull it back maybe about here, not the whole distance, even though it is 97 meters, because we're just going to drop down. And that lays us up pretty good, and we're still going to get a birdie, and that's all you really need when you're going for your 3-star run. So you shouldn't have any problem getting your 3 stars, even with this lineup of discs in your bag. Even though you don't have the best disc for this hole, you should still be able to get a birdie. This again, with your Zeus, you should be able to eagle this one. So getting the 3 stars on this should be a breeze. Notice we've got a really strong wind, so normally I would shoot right in between these trees, but because of that wind, I'm just going to try over here. No, that doesn't look good. That's going to go way off to the side. Let's try throwing that again. And this time bring it over just a little bit. This is kind of more what you want. Hitting the hill right about here. Bounces up. And in for your second shot. For another eagle. It's not going to show an eagle. Whoops. Especially when you hit the rim. But let's try it again. That's what we're looking for right there. Okay, and the last hole. This recoil, I think, if I remember back from the days when I first started this game, the recoil does a pretty good job on this hole. Don't remember quite where to aim it, but let's try almost a half hyzer and see what happens. Yeah, that's not quite what I was looking for, but we're still left with a 16 meters. Shooting downhill a little bit so we won't pull it back all the way. And in it goes. So a nice birdie is about all you're going to get on that one. You might even end up getting par, but if you've been getting eagles all the way along, you'll be fine. We could maybe play it one more time. I think I could have had that kind of more like a half hyzer. That's kind of more like what we want. And here, 7 meters, we can just toss this in. Okay, so there we have it, the practice mode. Let's just go grab our 3 stars and be done. Okay, here we go. Let's get these 3 stars under our belt. And you remember all the lines that we learned in our practice mode? Checking the wind will determine how much of an anhyzer you want to put on this. We'll give it a little bit so that it should line up with the basket better. If we get a good skip, something like that is what we're looking for. And 13 meters, I'm going to do a backhand throw in. Our first eagle. All right, the potential ace here. Let's see what we can do. Nice. That will help. Every little bit helps. And then we've got quite a strong wind. Always take a look at the wind. If you forget to look at the wind, there's a good chance you're going to lose a point. So normally we would put a little anhyzer on this, but with that wind, it's going to pull our disc away. And so we should be okay just going straight down. And that gets us up there really nice. And a putt, 11. I could toss this, but when I'm trying for the 3 stars, I just feel a little bit more comfortable throwing. And at this distance, don't center it too much. Bring it up just a little bit, and you should be good. Kind of a wind do we have here? Okay, with this kind of wind, I think we'll go with the backhand approach. Take it up here and put a little bit of an anhyzer on that and hope for the best. Ooh, it came back too quick. Still, that's not too bad. We should be able to pull this off. 33 in a wind. Still learning this fade disc. Nope. Oh well. Can't win them all. Oh, I pulled that all the way back. It's probably going to go out of bounds. I'm playing too fast and furious here. Oh, he's saved by the tree. All right. Let's just pull this back to about here. Get our little layup here. Well, we kind of wished we would have gotten a little closer to the edge there, leaving us a 49. That's quite a tester shot. But let's give it a try. For a 50-meter distance, you want to come down to right about here. Oh, it didn't. When you want it to fade, it doesn't fade. I don't get that. There must have been a little wobble that I didn't catch there. So we'll probably have to settle for the birdie, or we will have to settle for the birdie. But that's okay. All right, hole number 7. What did we do on that? I think it was the recoil disc. We've got quite a wind to deal with here. I think we were bringing it almost half anhyzer on a wind like that. Will it go over the hill? It does. Okay, I think we're going to be okay. If it doesn't roll away. All right. In this wind, this is going to be a challenge with a new disc. No. But birdies are okay. We're going to have to settle for a birdie on this one too, probably. Man, it just touches those leaves and it really slows it down. Okay, last hole. Let's just toss this in. All right. There we have it. 3-starring Oak Hill. And here's our reward. What did we get? Oh. It's giving me an offer. Is this a pop-up? It's not the type of pop-ups they're talking about that we blocked. This is an in-house pop-up, first-time offer. And we're going to pass on this. Throw further and more accurately if you have these. Well, I've never actually played with the Fury, or I guess I have used the Harp, and it is a pretty good disc actually. But I think what I would like to do is avoid purchasing any more discs for this account, because if you're following and you have purchased the ones that I did at the beginning, you may not necessarily purchase other discs that I purchase along the way, and then I'll be using discs that you don't have in your bag. So I'm just going to work with what we can accumulate as we 3-star the courses. What did we get this time? We got a fuse, but it's not the accurate fuse. We got a compass that's accurate, but it's an extra glide. And the Explorer extra glide. But I still think that we've got better discs in our bag. Let's just take a look at what we have here. Yeah, our Explorer is an accurate extra glide, and so that is better than just an extra glide. And the compass that we got, the accurate compass, might be something that we could drag into the bag, but I doubt we'll ever use it because the Sphe is probably going to be more accurate or more straight. This compass is probably going to fade. Let's see what happens on a test drive. Yeah, it fades quite a bit. Much more than the Sphe would. And I don't like having to learn how to compensate for discs that fade like that when you're trying to throw into the basket. So I usually leave those alone. But if you like to have a little bit of fade on your discs and learn how to compensate for that, you might want to try that. But I think I'll just leave it out for now. And maybe on the next round, we'll get some discs we can actually use. But I think that does it for this video, and we'll see you next time here when we take a look at Lakeside. That's a fun course, especially if you don't mind losing your discs in the water. See you next time. So long for now.